Welcome, everyone, to the podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Pleben. I'm a tiny house designer, builder, advocate, author, and I am vice president of the Tiny House Alliance USA. Today, we have a special guest that we'll be talking to who built her tiny house in just, 7 days. You're going to have to hear her story. Today, we are featuring Melanie Copeland. Melanie is a board member of the Tiny House Alliance USA, the Tiny House DIYer, an advocate, as well as a tiny house author. Melanie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for letting me be here.
Fantastic. I see you're sitting in your tiny house right now. It looks great.
Thank you. I didn't spend any time cleaning it.
Well, a tiny house doesn't require a lot of time. You could probably knock that out, I'm thinking, in 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So,
Melanie, we are all excited to know how you built this tiny house in just 7 days.
Yeah, so we had a really long 7 days. It sounds overwhelming when you think about building a tiny house in 7 days. We actually worked with a company that provided us the basic shell, and they did the roof and they had the trailer. And then so the basic framing was done when we started, and framing is usually about 30% of a build, roughly, for most of the stuff that I've worked on. And then a group of us spent 7 days. There was 5 of us that came and spent 7 days doing all the rest of the work for the whole house. And it was crazy because none of us really had any experience doing this. So we were trying to learn all the tools and learn how to, make all the cuts right. And we had a supervisor who, made sure that we knew what we were doing safety wise with the equipment and walked us through it all. And we just divided up in teams, and a team of 2 was on one side of the house, a team of 2 was on the other. And because I've been through reconstructive knee surgery, I was terrified to build and do, this type of work, because it was not, I'm like, I don't want to end up with, going back to surgery.
Very physical.
Yeah. So I told him, I said, you teach me every tool, because I can stand there and use those tools. And I think I cut every board on this house. And even that is a lot of work. So, but it was a lot of fun. And I think the key to building a tiny house that fast is you just have to build it simple. Our home is very simple. There's not a lot of stuff that's gone into making it complex. It was a very easy build, and we've added as we've lived in it because we learned those skills.
Okay. Did I cover your background? Did I dwell on everything, or is there more you want to tell us about your background in the tiny house movement industry or ideology?
Right. And my husband and I decided that we wanted to do the, live tiny, live free thing. Sounds great on paper. It's really rough to play out in the real world. But we decided that we were going to go for it. And it was really due in part to me being laid off almost every year for 7 years.
Yeah.
And every time I would, I'd get a job and I'd work for a year, and it would get right to the point where I was getting ready to get the 401k and, all the benefits from the company. And then in came the layoff. And then they'd hire somebody else that they didn't have to give those things to. And I was out of a job. A couple of my jobs were shipped overseas. So I was frustrated, and we were scared that we were just going to lose everything constantly and we couldn't get ahead. And I thought, I've done it. We did it right. We did everything right. We got married. We went to college. We have degrees. We worked, and yet it didn't matter how hard we worked. We just couldn't get anywhere with it. We were like on the cusp of losing everything
Like most Americans.
continuously for 10 years. And I just said, there has to be something else that I can do because I'm exhausted. I don't want to do this anymore.
Exactly.
And so the layoff came in, my last layoff. I haven't had any more, in 2017. And that was Christmas, right? A couple days before Christmas. We built our house. We downsized everything we owned and built our house in February of 2018. So we did the whole process, the deciding, the building, and the moving in about 2 to 3 months. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah,
It was really fast. I mean, you want to talk about jumping in? We jumped, we leapt, we were just like all in right now. So every part of us, the build was fast, the moving was fast, the downsizing was fast, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. Great to hear. Oh, can you tell us a little bit more about your experiences with just your tiny house lifestyle? It's like, and why did you even choose to go tiny?
Yeah, well, the money was one.
Okay.
That was one of the biggest draws for us, and to the ability to move our home, because we thought, well, if one of us got a really good opportunity, we wouldn't have to give up our equity. We could just take it with us. So those were the two biggest reasons that we chose to, and to have a safety net. Like, this is a home that I own. Nobody's coming to take this away from me. I am paid. I am done. We purchased our land last year, and my mortgage on my land is $93 a month.
Oh my. So
I couple that with
definitely believe that going tiny was the right choice for you.
Yeah, this was unfortunately, there's not a lot of people that are able to buy land and do what I'm doing and be parked on my own land. I had to work through zoning. I had to work through the health department, the building inspectors. It was a lot of work to get on this land.
Right.
And I hope that in the future that will open up for more people, because I fully believe that, tiny homes are prominent in tiny house communities and maybe even in backyards to some extent in certain areas. But most of the time we end up in campgrounds or RV parks, and it's not really a spot for a full-time dweller. And I have lived in an RV park. We lived in one for 7 months, and we also lived in a backyard. And I feel like this option should be available as long as you're able to be safe and properly hooked up on your land. So I hope some of the stuff we're doing with the Tiny House Alliance and the ASTM initiative will open up doors for more areas to let us in.
What I'm praying for. Yeah.
It's so needed. It really is.
Not only nationally, but globally, with a global standard for tiny homes everywhere. Boy, it's the only affordable housing out there.
It is. And the ability to actually own a home and have it paid off and done, and on top of it, to know you built it. So if there's anything wrong with it, you know how to fix it. It's just, there's so much
rewarding.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom and pride, and just that goes into doing that I really wish more people understood how that felt.
I believe more and more are coming aboard and seeing this. I really do. With the Facebook groups that I have and that I manage during the day as well, I'm letting in, I've got one group alone that I let in about 600 people a day. So it's just growing. The amount of people that want information and resources for tiny houses, it's unfair.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, we have a housing problem in this country, and we need to address it somehow. This is a very affordable way to live and live simply and within your means. And
Right.
I mean, there's so many advantages to it. It's a very calm lifestyle. At least it's been very calm for us.
Peaceful. Peaceful,
Yeah,
I say.
peaceful. And not that it didn't come with the stress, because when we were hiding, we in the backyard, we were definitely stressed about getting zoning, notices and stuff like that. And there's challenges to it. I mean,
Yeah.
moving is always scary. When you put your house on the road, you're like, oh, please don't hit my house.
I just love the tiny groove pine on your walls, and
Thanks.
it's fantastic. I mean, it's such a warm look, Initially, when we started building, we were doing quite a few of those, and now with the developments that they have with the engineered shiplap and all that,
Yep.
More people are kind of gravitating towards that type of look, because then they can paint it whiter, any other colors, do accent walls and things
Right.
like that. So that's getting very popular now as well.
Yeah.
So you're happy you went this route, building on your own versus possibly using a builder out there, but it worked for you.
Right.
And you feel you saved enough money doing this, and it was a true advantage to go this route rather than using a builder possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, initially we thought we did look at buying a traditional home, and we had
Exactly.
great credit, and we could have bought a traditional home, but it would have been, in our area, it would have been about a $400,000 fixer upper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead, I spent $27,000 to build a brand new home
Wow.
that I could move
27.
with no debt, walking away. And
And of
then,
course, that was before the lumber hike over here. And
sure,
as you know,
we built,
the lumber's just gone skyrocketing, and
yeah, it's nuts. That
so,
was 3.5 years ago. So we were
yeah.
way before that ever happened. But yeah, that's scary. And in fact, I think the company, so the company that I did the workshop with, they don't do it anymore. Incredible Tiny Homes doesn't do those workshops, but they listed my model up there. And for them to build Serenitas today, it would be like $54,000. So that's just the price increase in the wood
Exactly.
and their labor, because they would be building it, not a group of volunteers like we built it. But still, that's a significant increase in compared to what we paid and built it ourselves.
Okay.
And I think there's advantages to building it yourself, but there's also disadvantages, because there's we built this house so fast that there's like some of the boards I'll look at in my walls, and they'll be like, have a gap in them, or, and I'm like, why did I decide that day that was okay? Oh, because I had 7 days to build a house, and we're going to throw it.
Understood.
So it's not perfect. I mean, it has its little flaws, but we love the fact that we left like our writing on the boards and just polyurethaned over those, so we can see, 2.25 inches written randomly around the house.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, on the pieces of wood and
Got
stuff. So
character.
it just kind of made it our
Character,
own.
memories.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I want to switch gears here a little bit and talk about something else.
Okay.
Melanie Copeland, you are an author of the book Trailblazing Tiny, a guide to breaking free. What prompted you to write this book?
So I have been in multiple Facebook groups since I built the Tiny and everything, and I followed lots of people that followed my journey. And the amount of questions that I got is, how do you do this? How did you downsize? People want to know, how did you design your house? What tools did you use? How did you make it happen? And you get so many questions over several years. And I thought, there's so much to going tiny. We have to be so many things as consumers. We have to, we have to downsize everything we own. We have to get rid of our whole lifestyle that we knew and come into this whole different lifestyle, trying to figure out, how are we going to cook? How are we going to get hot water? How are like every question that you never have to really think about. And then you have to
It lays
decide
it
if
all
you're
on the
gonna,
line now.
yeah,
You have to
yeah.
know it and you have to do it.
Are
Yeah.
you gonna build this? Are you gonna get a builder? And then once you get it and it's parked and you move into it, you're like, well, where do I put it? Where am I gonna live in this? How am I gonna handle the mental that comes with it? Just being able to downsize and live in a smaller space with less, because there's that too. You're going to end up with more time, and all of a sudden you're going to go, hey, I don't have to spend a whole day cleaning my house. I guess I can go for a bike ride. We're getting ready to go on our third vacation in a year and a half.
Wow,
Twice
that's
we've been out
nice.
of the country, and
That's
I
tiny
did
house
a
lifestyle.
yeah, I did a 10-day stretch on the AT backpacking, and I don't have to ask a boss for time off anymore. So I thought, if I write this book and I share my journey and what we did, it's great that people understand what we did and what our journey was. But more important to me was, how can I help somebody else do this too? Because living this lifestyle is hard and it's confusing, and there's so many things that I thought a little workbook or something that somebody can hold and they can write down what their lofts are supposed to be like and how they want to design their kitchen and things that can help them downsize. And so I've actually got a copy of it right here.
Oh, fantastic.
So this is not a little book.
No,
I
it's
think
not a little
well
book.
over 400 pages.
Very
And
nice.
in the back, there's, like worksheet pages for people to write
Yeah.
down all of their stuff. And there's graph pages and um, different journaling sections. And there's prompts and questions as you go along. Plus, I've interviewed 16 other tiny house dwellers, professionals, and just people that are in the industry, everyday people that are in the industry,
Right.
and everyday tiny house dwellers, to kind of get their experience for each area that we went through. So if I lived in an RV park, I interviewed somebody else who lived in an RV park. If I bought land, I interviewed somebody else who bought land.
Wow.
So
Nice.
it would show a different perspective than just my story. So I hope it'll help a lot of people walk
I believe it will.
the whole journey and be able to get a really good way to start and keep it all in one spot. Because when we went tiny, we had all these papers all over the place and all this notes here and notes on the phone and emails. And there's places in this book to put all of that stuff so it can just be in one solid spot through the whole process.
That'll be a very important item out there in the tiny house community. Just the resources, the information. There's a lot of misinformation out there, so this will cut right through that and give our listeners just an excellent resource into the A to Z's of tiny home lifestyle, how to build, how to live, all the details they need, not only from you, but these other people that you mentioned that are in the book and giving their story as well.
Right.
That's
Because,
phenomenal. It's a lot of viewpoints.
It is a lot of viewpoints, and there's a lot of people that have done this. And I think that that's the thing that, as the movement grows, we're seeing more and more people living tiny in communities and all these places. And people go, hey, I don't know how to do this. And I'm like, but there's more and more of us now. And we all have stories and we all have something to share, contribute. And the more of us that are speaking, then it helps pave the way for others to come along too.
Right.
And so I think it's very important. It was one of the things that I really wanted in my book. I didn't want it to just be my story. I know there's so many people who have done amazing things, and I feel very lucky that they even wanted to be interviewed in my book. So I'm so grateful for their contributions as well. And they, again, are not famous tiny house dwellers. They're not people that are out there, making $1 million on YouTube videos. These are just somebody who went and bought a house or built a house and is sharing part of their story. So
Understood.
very cool.
Yeah. Hey, where can our listeners go to get a copy? I know it's you're in the launching stages right now, but maybe you can go over when it's going to be launched and how can they get a hold of a copy like that.
Sure. So I have a Facebook page called Trailblazing Tiny,
Mhm.
and pre-orders will begin for my book, I believe, August 1st. So
Okay.
we're right there. The pre-orders will be receiving signed copies, and the first 25 are going to receive little custom-made bookmarks as well. And then I believe somewhere around August 15th to the 20th, it will go live on Amazon. So then it will be available to
Very
order on
soon.
Amazon. Yes, yes. Depending
Fantastic.
on when the final proof copies get mailed back to me, I'll be hosting the virtual signing party on the Facebook page so everybody can come in and chat with me. And I'll be signing all the books live for everybody, unless there's like 200 people, and then I might have to just do a shorter. I don't know.
Right, right.
But I'll try to sign as many as I can, and then they'll all be shipped off to everybody before the book goes live. So they'll get them maybe 5 to 10 days before everybody else gets theirs. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, great information. I appreciate you taking the time to come on and share with us today. And it's great to
Thanks.
see you. It's that chair you're sitting in. Oh my goodness. If it
So
looks
this
so
is a
I got
hammock.
in that chair, I don't think I could pull myself out.
They're not as hard as you'd think because these are actually made to be chairs. So
Yeah.
they actually have the slope. So my
I
feet are
would
sitting
want to
on.
come out. It looks too
No, you don't want to come
Yeah,
out. No, no. You just want to kick
that's
back.
exactly what I meant.
That's
So
exactly it. But yeah, they're not hard to get in and out of. It's just you don't want to. It makes it really comfortable. It's a really comfortable way to just kind of kick back and um, relax at home and not have to worry about a couch or cleaning that kind of stuff up. We wanted simple, so which
right.
I have promoted having hammocks in a tiny house for 3.5 years, and I'm getting really angry now because I don't see anybody else doing it. And I'm like, come on, people, get the hammocks. They're so great. We've we've really loved them. So I'm all about the hammocks. But yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, if you want to learn a little bit more about the Tiny House Alliance USA, we welcome you to visit our site at the tinyhouseallianceusa.org, or you can visit us on our Facebook page as well. And come by, check us out, see all that we have, all that we offer. And that's it for today. So thank you very much for joining us, Melanie.
Thanks, Andrew. I hope you guys
All
have a
right.
great afternoon. Appreciate it.
Bye now.
All right. Bye.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in, and be sure to follow us and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much.